Hello everyone and welcome to today's Talking Reds. I'm here with another new partner today, Mr. Craig Hannan. You alright, Craig?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm fully World Cupped up. You know what I mean? The fever has struck me and I'm not even taking anything for it. So I want to start with World Cup business, seeing as that's at the top of everyone's mind. And yesterday, as far from a Liverpool perspective, it's been a bit of a slow start to the World Cup because for the first few days we didn't really have many players playing apart from Dejan Lovren. But yesterday was the day that most people were looking forward to because you've got Sadio Mane and Mo Salah both playing on the same day. Looking forward to 2 wins, lots of goals, and well, it was a mixed bag. It was a great day for Sadio. For Mo, however, it was a little disappointing. Him and his Egyptian friends got beaten 3-0 in the end by Russia, and it looks like that their chances of progressing into the next stage are already out now. And obviously the tragedy that he had in the Champions League final has kind of almost carried on into this now because obviously it was that injury when he didn't start the first game, so he felt like he was under a lot of pressure to do everything and make up for it all in this one game. And he just didn't have a lot of help, did he, mate?
He didn't. I felt really sorry for him. Nice to see him start. Nice to see him get a goal. Obviously, he does really well to win the penalty, slots the penalty. Egypt just didn't offer very much else. I had a little bet against Egypt. I feel dirty saying it. I had a double with Senegal and Russia, and that was based on their first game against Uruguay. I just didn't think they were up to much. They looked blunt. They looked like there was a few yard dogs in there, and Mo Salah's definitely not fit either.
No.
Like watching the game, there is still something wrong. I'd be interested to see what happens when he comes back, whether he is just fit, whether it just takes time to heal whatever's happened to his shoulder, or whether it ends up that he needs some sort of operation or something, because that would worry me. It would worry me if he's out there playing in the World Cup at the minute and he's taking, they're putting injections or they're doing something like that.
I didn't really want to say it at the time, but obviously from an LSD perspective, there is an upside to them going out early.
Massively.
And it is just that. It is the fact that he gets a chance to rest. Now, I was listening to some of the Egyptian coaches before the game saying that they were giving him rigorous testing, like they were basically body checking him in training to see how his shoulder stood up. And it obviously stood up to an extent that they thought he was able to play. So from that perspective, it's not as potentially bad as it could be. But yeah, I'm gutted for the lads, but rest up, Mo. Go on holiday, enjoy yourself. Egypt still loves you. You still got one more game against Saudi Arabia to fill your boots, maybe get a hat-trick.
I've seen them play as well.
Exactly.
You should fill your boots, to be honest. I think, and it's the best case scenario for Liverpool. Like, we've all been Egypt fans and we've all wanted to see Egypt and Mo Salah do well because we love Mo Salah. But in terms of getting him back, when Egypt's next game be in the next 3-4 days, so then after that they're out, you probably give him a 3-week rest, I'd imagine, which means he should be back in time for at least 4 pre-season friendlies, you'd think, because there was a worry that, if Senegal and Brazil, who are likely to go far in the competition, if they all did, then it's a race against time as to whether who's fit on the first day of that season against West Ham for Liverpool. So it's a good thing for Liverpool. Bad thing for Mo Salah. Hopefully his shoulder's all right when he comes back.
Yes. Now that's a very nice segue into talking about Senegal, who did win. Excuse me. They did win. Sadio didn't score, but he was influential from a slightly withdrawn number 10 position, which is also interesting looking at us next season. But the thing I want to talk about regarding Senegal is that we all know that they've got some quick players out there. African teams, a lot of the time, we think of them as just being about the power and the pace and maybe a little bit indisciplined and a bit all over the place. But it was the intelligence that they showed, not only in Niang in basically nobbling all of the Polish defenders who clearly didn't notice him coming back onto the pitch and getting in and scoring the second goal, but the composure they showed once they were in the lead. They basically said to Poland, come beat us if you can. They held on to the ball. They did all the things that we've been asking Liverpool to do when we're in the lead, and they did them really well. And I think that bodes well for their future in this tournament. And obviously, like we said, with Sadio playing such a central role in that, potentially for Liverpool going forward as well.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of, is slightly deeper. Also the fact that he's captain.
Yeah.
I like the fact that so many of our players, whether it's new players that we're bringing in, Fabinho, whether it's our existing ones, the likes of Mane being captain for their country or being the best player for their country, I think that bodes well whenever you're trying to build a team that you want to be the best in Europe. And yeah, so that was interesting to see him in that slightly deeper position. It's one that at times we've seen him at times for Liverpool come back a little bit deeper and really look look brilliant. And I think that's one that Jurgen Klopp will maybe be thinking about next year. And as for Senegal, the team like Senegal is one of the reasons why I love the World Cup, because it's not a team that you get to watch unless it is at the World Cup, unless you watch the African nations. And before the tournament, Melissa Reddy had actually said to me, watch out for Senegal, they're the one African hope that could go far in this tournament. And fingers crossed, we'd love to see Mane home as well, but we'd also love to see him bouncing into Melwood, having gone far in the World Cup and lit up that tournament. And so I'm all for Senegal. Maybe we are Senegal fans now that Egypt have gone
I kind of already was a Senegal fan, to be honest with you, because Mo's got loads of adopted Egyptian fans, so I wanted to go on to Sadio's side. But
football hipster before they got cool.
Hey, well, there'll be more about me and my hipsterness later on. But I think for me, the reason why I was so happy to see him is not only because of, like you say, they are the best African team, but it's been so long since we've had a really good African team. I mean, the idea of them breaking through the quarter-final ceiling, it still looks tough, but I tell you, if they top their group and England finish second and have to play them in the last 16, watch out. That's all I'm saying. Now, another nice segue. I'm getting good at this. Talking about England, and in particular, Liverpool midfielder Jordan Henderson. Now, we spoke a little bit on previous Talking Reds about his performance and the, let's say, mixed reaction to his performance, which still baffles me. And yet, we've had to go even further. Now, I'm not normally the kind of guy who's all about clapbacks. I enjoy a good one, but I normally have the kind of rise above it kind of idea. But
James from having Gareth Roberts on there.
Well, it's funny you should mention him, because he sent me a message yesterday saying, "Oh Mo, I've just seen this article in the MEN. You've got to tear these apart." And it's his birthday tomorrow, so you know what? I thought I'd do him a solid. So, if you haven't seen it, basically, an MEN journalist called Stewart has written a piece about how Raheem Sterling's struggles for England are Jordan Henderson's fault. Yeah, Jordan Henderson's fault that he doesn't play well for England. And I've pulled some quotes out of you for you here. Internationally, Jordan Henderson is like a glass of water. I quite like water, me,
Yeah.
And not
it's vital, isn't it? Water.
Yeah, it is vital, exactly.
Keeping things going.
But they also say that he's not at the level of the midfielders Raheem gets to play with all the time at Manchester City. When he's playing for England, he makes safe options, he checks back, he does this, he does that. It's not really the same. He's inhibited because he hasn't got the quality around him. Okay, like I said, I'm not a big clapback fan, but let's just take this one apart one time. So you're saying to me that Raheem Sterling has been fantastic for Manchester City. He has been fantastic. There's no qualms about that.
Yep.
But until this season, he was playing exactly the same for Manchester City as he's playing for England, right? Right? And Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva were still there last season, right? Right? Right. So that can't be the only problem. Now, let's look at it from a wider perspective and say that, okay, so if Raheem Sterling's only struggles at England are because of the poor people he plays with at international level, then that means that he wouldn't ever miss chances when he plays for Manchester City, right? 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 Okay. And that also means that same Liverpool midfielder, Jordan Henderson, when he plays for Liverpool, the attackers up front must be really struggling because they've got no creativity behind them, right? Right?
Right.
Right? So yeah, as I said, that's rubbish. But there's a wider point here. Well, there's two wider points. One of them's good, one of them's bad. The first wider point is about the MEN in general, who, as Craig is going to show us with his ridiculously oversized sheet,
I asked Josh to print it out, and I feel like I've shrunk Don't know what size that is. Like, it's not
I mean,
A4.
I know we're not making a big deal of it, but that's literally a big deal. But the point is that they've made lots of stuff like this before. You want to just go through a few of them?
Well, I saw Gareth tweet that last night, and it just made me laugh because it seems to be. I don't know whether it's their strategy at the moment, whether it's since that City game, since Manchester City get knocked out of the Champions League by us, that the City journalists have had just this little. It's as if we've annoyed them a little bit, which I understand because you got knocked out of the Champions League by us. And it's been since then. There's been little niggles. Now before that, the MEM Man United journalists they've been at it. I've got some examples here. So the last night's one was Sterling underwhelming performances are not his fault, but it's more of an LFC problem and an MCFC one. Okay. Now that was Stuart Brennan. That was the same one that before all of the bus stuff was making a big deal out of the bus stuff as if it had never happened before. Samuel Luckhurst, who's MEN journalist, he's my favourite. Yeah. He's the United one.
Top troll.
Yeah, he's always tweeting about Liverpool and it's brilliant. He tweeted last year. Last year he tweeted if Man United sign one player this summer, it should be Fabinho. And then this season he's put why Manchester United didn't sign Fabinho, and he goes into great length about why they don't need him. Right? Loris Karius and Liverpool get sympathy, so why do Manchester United get mocked? Liverpool apologists stood up for Karius after the Champions League final, but Man United would never get such coverage after the final. Ian Cheeseman, this is good. Man City very different to Liverpool, and Champions League final shows why. Would Manchester City have crumbled like Liverpool did after their star player's injury? Well, they've crumbled on their way to the final. They've never made the final. So they've crumbled at the semi-final under Pellegrini. They've crumbled in the quarter-final because they get put out by Jurgen Klopp. So no, because they've never had the chance. And then Richard Fay, Liverpool fans can't handle Gabriel Jesus' success. Manchester City forward Gabriel Jesus started for Brazil ahead of Roberto Firmino, and Liverpool fans can't believe it. Is that why you went to university to study journalism, to write absolute shite like that? So why would we care?
that last one, I love this by the way. That last one is the kind of crux of the matter. It's trying to create this rivalry, this kind of almost false rivalry. Now, you look at it from a perspective of an editor, they can see that Manchester City and Liverpool, they've got a lot of similarities in terms of style of play, level of manager. They've also had a lot of rip-roaring games over the time. So in the same way as back in 2005, the rivalry was developing between us and Chelsea, you could almost see it happening organically on the pitch. But to then try to produce this false narrative through the fans of us hating them hating us. I mean, traditionally, we've never really hated City that much. I mean, even after they got money, because it wound Man United up, which were obviously our bigger rivals. So we were fine with that. But now it seems like the people at the MEN and a few other journalists as well have decided that they want to harness the power of Liverpool fans. So they're going to just basically poke us to try and drive their own traffic. Now, for any MEN guys, if you really wanted to try and poke a team with a bigger fan base that plays in reds to kind of get your own traffic, there's one even closer to home than us. You don't need to bother with us.
That strategy would worry me. You know, the numbers that they're getting mustn't be up to scratch if they're relying on Liverpool fans to get them clicks on Chartbeat, and that would be a sorry state of affairs in an already declining industry. So yeah, look, good luck to them to keep doing it, keep giving us the laughs. I think there's a wider point as well, which is Liverpool are doing something right, because it means that newspapers and news websites of opposition teams are writing about us or talking about us. You know, you see last night opposition fans like almost rejoicing at the fact that Salah had got knocked out of the World Cup. That means he comes back earlier so that we get more time in pre-season with him. Does that not, like, you'd rather him go far and miss the first two league games, surely?
Yeah.
And it feels like on Salah, it just feels like opposition fans are just waiting for him to fail next season. I can't wait when he's just banging them in all over and doing the business for the Reds again. And that's just an indictment of the direction that Liverpool are going. The fact that, you know, opposition fans are worrying, are talking about us, are constantly looking for little things to get. Even Spurs fans who, you know, you're Spurs. So yeah, it's
don't get me started on those guys.
Look,
seriously,
I love it. Keep it coming. inject it into my veins, as they say. So yeah.
Now, I wanted to make another point about Manchester City and about Raheem Sterling in general. Now, obviously, since this England campaign has begun, there's been a lot of talk about him and about the coverage of him and how about the perception and the image of him and how the kind of the narrative is going towards a bad way. And there's been lots of people who've been coming out and saying, no, this is wrong, we need to stop them doing this, tabloids need to leave him alone. And I applaud that. However, what we need to happen now is when he next comes to Anfield, we need to leave him alone. If you're a Liverpool fan and you're saying the treatment of him was terrible by the tabloid press, but you're still booing him when he comes to Anfield, have a word, right? It's happened. It's over. He plays for City. We are Liverpool. We're great. They're great. Let's just leave it alone now, shall we? Okay.
I quite like the Daily Mail's article. Did you see about they've now got this hero in Harry Kane that is a nice guy.
Yeah, finding someone to root for.
Yeah, they find someone to root for because he's a nice guy, because he is married or goes out with his childhood sweetheart, because he's a brilliant player, and like Raheem Sterling goes out with his childhood sweetheart.
It's the tattoos is the problem though, isn't it? Yeah.
Wind it in, honestly.
And finally, something a little bit more amusing. Now, some of you may have noticed, specifically you who follow me on Twitter, that a comment I made on a previous Talking Reds show about Werder Bremen keeper Yuri Pavlenka was picked up by the Daily Star and turned into a newspaper article. So first of all, I want to say hi to the lads at the Daily Star. I know you're watching. Second of all,
they are.
They literally are. It's not the only time it's happened, by the way. Andy Heaton got the Daily Star treatment for another one of the shows we did. Now, I mean, this is just amusing to me. At the time, I had a little chuckle, but there's been a development. Apparently, Sports Bills, an actual reputable name in German journalism, are now saying that Liverpool are actually in for Yuri Pavlenka. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I had nothing to do with this, because I know you guys watch Michael Edwards too, and we mentioned it at the time. So I just want to ask you, Michael, where can I send my invoice to? Because there's got to be some kind of commission off the back of this, sure. I'm joking.
I'm not going to pretend I know who this goalkeeper is. He sounds good. He sounds good.
I mean, it's funny because some people are saying he's got the same best keeper in the Bundesliga award that Karius won before we signed him, and people are putting two and two together and going, but he's a different guy, he's a different keeper to Karius. The things that they do have in common, he's a puncher, not a catcher, which again makes some people nervous, but one thing I like about him is that he doesn't punch back into danger zones, he punches it the hell out of there, up and out or out and wide. Now, I think he's a good goalkeeper, I still think he's a good goalkeeper. I'm still really surprised if we end up signing him. I think there are so many keepers they'll be able to be linked with now. It's almost like a needle in a haystack type of deal. But if he does end up at Anfield, genuinely, I will be happy. I think he's a fantastic keeper. And you should all be watching Werder Bremen next season. Because the way that they played, even if he's not with them, the way that they played, good attacking football, is kind of the football I like. So that's my last point on that.
Football hipster. Resident football hipster, Mo.
Like, see, this is the point though. Like, all I do is watch football. Like, I don't go out there. You'll never see me in a St. Pauli t-shirt or anything like that, or any of the accoutrements. I just watch football, and then I talk about it on here.
It bodes well for Talking Reds, to be honest. It does bode well. I can't imagine Robbo's watching too much Werder Bremen.
But this is it. It's like Talking Reds is your first resource of finding out about all of the rumours that are about to come out tomorrow. So I can't wait to hear what they say about this. I should maybe just throw an extra name in just for the hell of it.
Yeah, well, Paul Cope's talked about making up names in the past, which we're not for, to be honest. We don't want to start all of that.
No, they have to actually be real players. Like, we can't do that because that would be.
Just while we're talking about transfers as well, Rob Gutman sent me an email this morning just about today's Gutter show. Sounds really, really interesting. He's going to be looking at the Fekir agent comments from the other night, which are really encouraging, and it's kind of what we thought, that this deal isn't dead, and it seems that maybe after the World Cup something might happen, so he'll be talking about that. But he's going to look at the pre-season up until now as a whole, because it's not been going on very long, and it feels like you know, it feels like although it does feel like ages ago that we signed Fabinho, but the fact that we've got Fabinho and Keita coming in already, that drastically improves the midfield. Having looked at some of the pre-season fixtures as well, and just some of the names that have been mentioned and touted. So he's going to sort of go back to day one and you know, do a bit of an overview up until now, rather than it being another in a series of gutters. So that should be a really good one out today.
That was a nice segue, man.
I just thought I'd seize this moment.
No, it's good as well because I'm actually on that show and I haven't looked at that email yet. So you've basically told me what I need to research between finishing it and starting that show. Yeah. So speaking of some more on-air admin, last week I said that there were no shows coming out and everyone was like, well, actually there's 2 or 3 or 4. There are shows coming out, The Gutter being one of them. I don't know which other ones there are, but I'm sure by the time that this comes out on video, they'll be scrolling on the screen. So don't worry. Now, as I said, tomorrow is Robbo's birthday, so you've all got to come in and wish him a happy birthday tomorrow, yeah? Promise me?
He's 52 as well.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not 52. I think he's 42.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a little bit more believable. To be honest, like, if he was 52, that would be remarkable, because he would look, you know, distinguished for it. I mean, I look older than I am, so, like, I can appreciate that in someone else. But he'll be here tomorrow, probably with Kopi. We're off to go and research for The Gutter and try and get some on the Daily Star tomorrow. Up the Reds.